Hello, welcome back. I hope that you are well. I hope this finds you well. This is episode 2 of my version of a knitting podcast, my attempt at a knitting podcast called Chapters. If you don't know who I am, my name is Lindsay. I have an Etsy shop called Simply Serving on Etsy, and yeah, I make polymer charms, stitch markers, curate lots of little notions for knitters and crocheters, and also jewelry. So I have quite a bit of things to share with you today. I cast on several new things, I finished a couple things, and I received some really wonderful items in the mail. So I'm just going to jump right in. Adam is home early today because Baldur's Gate 3 came out. So he's going to be playing that, and right now I'm going to take advantage of the time that he's on the other side of the house to record this for you. So let's get into whips. The first whip is the same as last time, and I'm not going to talk about this sweater again probably until it's done, because I think it would just be redundant. I've already given you all the information, but I did want to show you a little bit of progress that I made and talk about something that I meant to talk about in the last episode but forgot. So this is my Arachne sweater, which I showed you guys last time. The only thing I've really done, I did pick up this sleeve, and I've knit just a little bit more on the body. So it has been so hot here in Illinois and many other states across the US. It's been over 100 degrees, super humid, and I have honestly not been knitting on sweaters for the last couple weeks. And I'm bummed about that because I was really enjoying working on sweaters, but it's just been so hot. So I've really only worked on socks, and that's what you'll see in this episode. But I wanted to talk about something that I will be doing differently from now on, that I've learned regarding floats. So these are my floats on the inside, and you can see maybe that I have caught the floats on the back of every stitch. And that's because my Etsy shop started knitting Christmas stockings, and I got into the habit of catching the floats on every stitch on the back. I knit color work with both my hands, so I'm just basically like rocking my right needle back and forth to catch the floats with the contrast yarn. It's kind of hard to explain, but I mean, if you know, you know. And the reason I did that with Christmas stockings is because whenever you're putting things into the stocking, you don't want it to catch on the floats. And I didn't line my stockings that I sold in my shop years ago. I do not sell Christmas stockings anymore. I do have a PDF pattern where you can make your own inspired by those stockings that I made for sale for years. But anyway, so that was how I became accustomed to catching my floats. And the problem with doing that with sweaters, I don't know if you've already been able to see, is you can see the contrast yarn and the texture of me picking up back and forth on those black stitches. And I feel like it doesn't give as much contrast to the web up top. So whenever I started Rory's sweater, I have started only catching every third float, and I've noticed that it makes the color work so crisp, and the contrast colors pop forward, and the main color doesn't show these floats through. So that's just a learning experience, and next time I make this sweater, because I'm definitely making it again, I will just be catching the floats, not on every stitch. However, it has been nice because, as you will see later in this episode, I plan on starting to knit some colorwork socks, and I feel like the same concept is going to be important for knitting colorwork socks, because in particular with children or baby socks, you don't want little toes catching on floats. So that was all I wanted to say about the Arachne. It's a pattern by Andy Sutherland. Love it. It is discontinued. I knit this out of Wool of the Andes with knit picks in Coal and Dove Heather. And it is all being housed in this beautiful bag by Knitting Nelly, which I talked about in the last episode. So I probably won't bring that sweater forward again until it is significantly closer to being done or done, just because you guys already know everything about it. So that's the first one. The second one is also a sweater that you have seen, and same thing with this one. I will wait until hopefully I'll be done with the sweater next podcast. I hope. I had hoped I would be done this podcast, but again, the heat wave was just so uncomfortable. I was not into knitting anything that would touch me, like touch my belly or my legs. I did not want anything touching me. Like even right now, I'm kind of hot. I don't want to mess with these too much. That's why I'm doing them first. But so this is the last unicorn, and I am, let's see if I can hold it back. I'm almost done with the body. I have just a few more rows from this stitch marker by Denim and Rain. It's her little sheep with mushrooms in it. And I need to do 1 inch, I think, from here, so I'm really close, and then 2 inches of ribbing, or 1.5 inches of stockinette and 1.5 inches of ribbing. I haven't decided. And then I'll show you the difference in the floats here. See, I just think that looks so much nicer, and it really, like, you can't see really, like, I mean, there's a couple spots that you can kind of see the contrast yarn behind, but once the yarn blooms, I really think that this color work is going to look perfect as it can from my skill level, so at this point in time. And this bag is just from Amazon. It's a canvas Art Nouveau tote from Amazon. So I will link that below just like I did last time if you're interested. Okay, last one that you guys have already seen. I just wanted to show you some progress, and next time I show it to you, I'll make sure it's done. But I'm really excited because I definitely, so this is, I should tell you what it is first. This is Rory's Musselburgh hat. It is knit from Sugar Sweeties, Homespun House yarn, and her Dale base. And you've probably already noticed, it is kind of self-striping. It is self-striping. And it looks like cotton candy, and it's so sweet. I love how this is turning out, and I was worried last episode that it wasn't going to fit her, but after I've done several more inches on it, like, it's absolutely going to fit her, especially like once it's blocked and everything. So there are a few of this stitch marker left in the shop, just a few. A few of the unicorns have sold out, but there are a few unicorns left as well. I might bring unicorns back. I really would like to make some like Halloween and Christmas unicorns. And this is the yarn. It's so soft. I love it. I really enjoyed knitting on this when I have knit on it, but I've been really into sock knitting lately. And this bag is by the Scrappy Thread. Okay, so now we're into my new cast-ons. So I did cast on a new sweater, and I will preface this by saying that I did not know I was jumping on a trending pattern. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I had originally planned on knitting a different pattern, and I don't know if it was just where I was mentally at the time or if it is just a more advanced for my skill level pattern, but I tried to start it and I could not figure it out. My brain just simply could not do it. We have a event coming up sort of local to us in October where it's like a car show with really old cars, old tin dusters. And there's going to be swing dancing and a jump blues band and just all vintage things. I'm so excited. I have been commissioned to design the logo for this event. It's a fundraising event for a school local to there. And I decided that, you know, I want to really dress vintage for it. And it's in October, and I thought I'd really like a sweater for it. And I did think maybe I can get the Arachne done. But the Arachne is going to be long sleeve, and here in October, it's a hit or a miss. It could be really cold, or it could be pretty warm. So I was doing some research on vintage sweaters, and these striped, well, not always striped, but these short sleeve sweaters just kept coming up. And I know that it's kind of, I don't want to say controversial, but it is, people either love short sleeved sweaters or they think they're pointless. And I don't know that I had a super strong opinion about short sleeve sweaters, but I definitely had always imagined myself knitting sweaters with long sleeves. That just seemed more practical to me. But then I came across information about something called Sweater Girls, which was after the war, the older generations started noticing that like Hollywood stars, and then of course that became trendy, so like the average girl started wearing these fitted sweaters and bullet bras, which are like the Madonna's was a little more dramatic, but the cone-shaped bras that really accentuated your breasts, your chest, and then form-fitting sweaters. And so they were called Sweater Girls, and it was kind of a derogatory term. It was coined to reference how did it go? Like the degrading morals of youth, and like sweater girls, it was questioned like what kind of wives and mothers would they be? These sweater girls that were wearing fitted short sleeve sweaters. So of course, why wouldn't I then make myself some short sleeve sweaters so that my morality can be questioned post-war? All that to say, I had an idea in my mind of what I wanted. I wanted a knitted short sleeve striped kind of sailor-esque sweater with, I wanted it to come down about to elbow length. And I would try to like kind of, I have a bigger belly, but like still be fitted to my belly. And the sweater would tuck under my chest so that things were accentuated. And the original plan was to knit a pattern that I found, and again I mentioned it was just too hard, so I came across a pattern called the Tolsta tee. It was recommended during my search on Ravelry, and it looked perfect. It was a little less fitted than I wanted. The sleeves were a little shorter, but as I was reading about it and I was looking at all, it was clear that this designer had intended for you to make all the alterations that you wanted to get the perfect knitted tee. And I was like, I think I could do that. And so I cast it on, and as I was working on it, I realized everyone's knitting this because it's actually a new pattern. She released it just in May, and I didn't even know of this designer. But anyway, so here's the striping sequence. I'm doing 5 and 2. So 5 in this charcoal, which is Plymouth Encore DK, and then 2 in the Wool of the Andes Squirrel Heather with knit picks, contrasting. And I really wanted to have this split for the sleeves by the time I showed it to you, but again, it got hot, but I'm loving working on it. I really, really love this pattern. It is easy. Even the short row shaping, like I learned new techniques, and it is an easy, beginner-friendly pattern. I didn't like to consider myself a beginner knitter because I've been knitting since 2010 and have knit several baby sweaters, but maybe I am a beginner knitter. I don't know. It's possible. But I did a a folded hem, and you can see it's at an angle because I messed up, but I don't think anyone's going to notice, and it's not at an angle in the front. Not really. No, it's not. So it looks fine on the front. But the back is kind of slanting a little bit. So yeah, I'm so excited about this. I already know what I want the next one to look at. And I did want to make a note here that if in 2 episodes you haven't figured it out, I repeat patterns a lot. I think I approach knitting and patterns in particular and designers the way that I do meeting new people, which is I kind of just don't. I am incredibly introverted, incredibly fine with repeating things and making the same of many things. I wonder why. Could it be because I'm making lots of duplicates of the same thing every day and work? Maybe. I don't know. But so I hope that's okay. In the podcasts I watch, people tend to do a lot of different patterns. Maybe I'll get there. But for now, once I find something that works for me, I just kind of change it up as I go. But I know there's not much here. But can you just imagine already how I'm so excited. I think this is going to look so good. It isn't black. But it's very dark, and I'm going to wear black leggings with it. I think I would put like a scarf in my hair, maybe some like cherry earrings, and my Vans, of course. They're not exactly with the times, but I have to wear my Vans. I am using, to keep all the stitches on, needle stoppers from my shop. These are available in my shop, ready to ship. There are sunflowers and daisies. And then I'm also using something else that's new to the shop, which is a beginning of round stitch marker. There are several styles. You guys seem to really like these, and so I will happily make different styles for you. So yeah, I think I love this project. I think once I do get back into knitting it, it will go really quickly. I just can't do a sweater right now. It's just too hot. The bag that it is in is what I call my doctor bag, because I think it's shaped like a doctor's bag. It is knit by it was made for me by Yarntasia, Jennifer. She still has an Etsy shop. She used to make bags and sell hand-dyed yarn. I think now she mainly just sews for her shop, but she's so talented, and if she still has her shop up, you should definitely check her out. But she made this for me special. It has a cork bottom, it's huge, and it has like this, it has a wire inside it to like open the mouth of the bag. And yeah, oh, and the zippers, if you can see, are skulls. I really like that bag. Holds a lot of yarn. Okay, my next project is another pair of socks for Rory. And Rory has been wearing her knit socks from me all the time. And it makes me so happy. I just want to knit socks for her nonstop. And her socks are so fast to knit. Will did wear his, but he put them right in the wash. So they have not come back out of the wash yet. But I know that he also likes his, and so I also cast on another pair for him. But my kids are really, for the most part, really good at taking care of handmade things. So I'm really excited that they are now interested in the socks. So anyway, I finished this sock last night, the first one. This colorway, the main colorway, is called Snow Day by Ruby and Rose's yarn. And when Rory found this colorway on my shelves back here, she was like, I want a sock that's completely that color. I love that color. But because I'm so into this, I picked a couple options for like contrasting colors for like right here and the roll. And she wanted super low contrast. She wanted it to match almost perfectly. And what I will tell you is this color right here is Wonderland Heather by Knit Picks. It's just this baby blue. Oh, it was not easy to knit into this. I kept getting confused, but it was fine. And then the roll up here, this beautiful lavender color, is Wisteria by a Homespun House. And all I have cast on is just the teeniest couple of rows with a Ghost Latte. Very new to the shop, just within the last few days I put the Ghost Lattes in the shop. They're almost sold out. And what I'm trying to do with the shop right now, just because of a lot of the new stuff Etsy has kind of been doing to sellers that has made things a little more difficult, I'm going to try to do less pre-orders and more restocks, ready to ship restocks. So for right now, the new Halloween stuff that I just put into the shop this past week that I'll talk about later is only ready to ship, and I'll do restocks. So anyway, that's those. I used a US size 2 needle garter stitch heel without a contrast because, again, she wanted me to use as much of this as possible, and I really like it. I really like making these double roll socks. I had decided, I think, if I ever published a, which I probably won't, but if I ever made a pattern with the technique that I used to do this, because it's not like the jelly roll socks, I thought about calling them double groove socks, because that's what, whenever like a record has a hidden track, it's called a double groove record, and it just will play the hidden track depending on where the stylus hits the record. I told you guys I have a lot of new cast-ons. The next new cast-on is a pair of socks for me. I haven't knit a pair of socks for myself since before COVID. I don't know. I have a sock drawer, and I told myself, like, I have enough socks. None of them have worn through. But a part of me, when I make like a cool pair of socks, I'm kind of like, I would like to make a pair for myself, and then I never do. So this pair is for me, and it is a DK weight pair. Because if you remember from last episode with my mom's socks, I told you that when I knit the High Desert Street socks, they're my favorite to wear, and they are the favorite socks of any recipient I have given them to. So I did not go up a needle size like I said I was going to this time. I actually am still using a size 3, which is what that pattern calls for. I went down to casting on 52 stitches, and I didn't do the ribbing, and guess what? It is really enjoyable. So it wasn't the pattern or the gauge or the yarn, it was the ribbing, I think, that I wasn't enjoying. I wasn't enjoying doing the 5x1 rib or whatever. So yay for DK knit socks. I'm so excited to be able to knit these again, because Adam has asked for more because he doesn't like wearing house shoes during the winter. He just likes to wear thick socks, so now I can make him more. So this top, you may recognize from last time, is Jellyfish and Paper Crane yarns. Absolutely gorgeous. Still so obsessed. This color is called Rumor, and it is by Dragon Horde yarn. And if you can look close, you can see, even though it's held double with itself, you can still kind of see it's wanting to like self-stripe a bit. And then I feel like the little stripes look a lot like this color, which is Luminaire by Ruby and Roses. And I have a Coraline stitch marker on here because I love Coraline. Absolutely love Coraline. And yeah, these are going to be my socks. I'm really excited to have another pair. And I'm using a Halloween DPN cozy by me from years ago. And it is all in my Coraline bag from Leela Styles. And I love this bag. I love anything Coraline. So I really, really enjoy those and how fast they're going, but they aren't going as fast as they probably normally would because of all of the kid knitting that I've been doing and baby knitting, which I'm almost to. I've got one more project. Okay, so in this bag, which is a Halloween bag that I made years ago when I was sewing bags for my shop. These were called takeout bags. They're just super small, have snaps on the top, and I really like them. I wish I had kept more for myself, but I didn't, because you don't sometimes whenever it's you making this stuff. This DPN Cozy is from the Scrappy Thread. Has strawberries and chickens. It's so cute. And then these are Will's socks. I haven't gotten as far because his take longer, but has the double roll at the top. So the first roll is Pickle Juice by Knit Picks Stroll Brights. They don't have that anymore, unfortunately. The heel is Knit Picks Stroll in Train Station. And the striping is Knit Picks Felici in 8-bit, I believe is what it's called. So I just finished the color work section and just have to go to the toe, which I think I'm going to do in Train Station, I think. Not much to say about those other than I really, really like making these shorty socks. They are super fun, and I might knit a pair for myself. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe in 3 years. Okay, now to the new cast-ons that have taken up probably the most of my time because they are so addictive and so adorable. And technically one of these is a finished object, but I'm including it in this section because it's they're part of a set, and I haven't put the tie-in on the second one. So in this bag from Zia's Cottage Industry, my friend Anna, I have baby socks. My sister, I have 3 sisters, 2 of which are twins. The one that is not a twin is pregnant with twins. So she is having a baby boy and a baby girl in October. I have never knit socks for babies. I always thought maybe it was a waste, which sounds terrible, I know, but I thought like they'll grow out of it so fast or they'll kick them off, and I do not feel that way anymore because I don't think I've ever knit anything cuter in my entire life than these socks. So these are for the little girl, and I have a pattern called the Susie Dale Socks by Homespun House, and originally my plan was to follow that pattern. But when I looked at the pattern, it called for a US size 0, which I don't think I even own US size 0 needles. I have no desire to knit with US size 0 needles ever. So the cast on wasn't going to work, and the count wasn't going to work. And so I didn't really look too much more into that pattern and kind of just did some research on how much to cast on using a size 1.5. And that's what I did. So I cast on 40 stitches using a size 1.5 US circular needle for Magic Loop. I knit the cuff, just 1 by 1 rib, and then I did a lice pattern. I did a lice pattern over 4 stitches, so 1 contrast and 3 main color stitches every 4 rows. So there's 4 rows in between each of the color work. And then when I got past the 5th repeat, I knit 2 rows, did yarn over knit 2 together all the way around for this little bow, knit 2 more rows, and then did a teeny garter stitch heel and gusset and just knit. I wanted to do the lice pattern on the foot originally, but I just kept imagining tiny toes being caught in the floats, even though I did catch every float inside. So I mean, I don't think it was a real concern, but I still wanted to be safe because little baby toes are so small. So this pair is done. I just need to put the second crocheted chain into this part. So those are done. The little girls are done. And then I finished the first of the little boys. Oh, so this, I don't know what colorway or who dyed this yarn. It was deep scrap yarn stash. It used virtually no yarn to make these, so I really don't know. I don't know, but it's really beautiful. It's got hot pink, fuchsia, and some like streaks of purple, so it's really pretty. And then this sock is knit using Knit Picks Stroll Tonal in Inverness. I love the contrast here with the holes. So this one's ready for the crochet chain, and I've got the leg done on the next one. And I have a little squirrel from my beautiful friend Jamie, who is Random Fandom Bags. She has the teeniest, tiniest, most detailed polymer clay charms ever, and she also makes fantastic project bags. She is making some Halloween ones, patchwork Halloween ones this year that are to die for. I messaged her when I saw them and I was like, those bags are everything. So if you haven't heard of her, definitely check her out. But yeah, so here they are. Little baby socks. I am so excited to give these to her, and then I'm gonna make a pair for my nephew, who is, I mean, he's not 9 to 12 months, but that's what size clothes he's in. Anyway, so I'm going to knit his bigger, probably cast on 44. And I've been obsessed with knitting those, and honestly that's what I spent like 4 days just knitting on these little socks, and that's probably what I'll finish. I'll finish the blue one tonight, probably, and cast on the next pair. Another work in progress I have had as a work in progress for years and years, since I started knitting socks. So I don't even know how long that has been, but I took it out again. It is my corner to corner scrappy crochet blanket, and I took it out again because I am determined to finish it by the end of summer, definitely by fall, because we got some new furniture this summer. It is the first time we have ever purchased furniture for ourselves. All of the furniture we've ever had before has been gifted to us by family, or someone bought it for us because we just were never in a place to get furniture. And so we finally did financing to get furniture, which I don't know why we didn't do that before. I think we thought we had to buy it outright, but anyway, so we got some new furniture. One of the pieces is a green velvet couch, which is very trendy right now, I know, but I love this couch so much, and I really wanted something a really special blanket to go over the back. And I have a couple plans for some other blankets that I'll talk about if I actually do them, but this is so close, I feel like, to being done that I would love for this blanket to go over the back of the couch. So it is huge. There's no possible way for me to show it to you here, so I will insert some B-roll of all of it if I can, but here. It's just so lovely, so drapey, and I can't wait for it to be done. I am this far along on the edge, and then you just keep closing to the other corner. So the rows are going to get shorter and shorter every time I reach the end of a row. So my plan is I have a bunch of bare Knit Pick Stroll, and I'm going to do a granny stripe, or not a granny stripe, but like a granny stitch border. Probably 3 rows of granny stitch around the outside, maybe a scalloped edge after that. I don't know, maybe. I haven't decided. But I am so excited to finish that and start another one. And it is in a Bulga basket. I got this off Amazon years ago. And it's always been the home for this blanket. Okay, so that is all my works in progress. That was a lot of them. Lots of socks and lots of plans for more socks. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and go into finished things. So finished things, I have 3, and one of them's not with me, and one of them I didn't make, but I still was so excited I had to show it with her permission. So the first pair, or the first finished thing, is a pair of socks that I was working on in the last episode, and I finished them. So these will be going to Tennessee to one of my very best girlfriends, and I hope she loves them. I don't think she watches this podcast, but she knows they're coming regardless. This was knit from Tranquility, this beautiful, I don't know, like a neon teal aqua, with Ruby and Roses, Stranger Things from Bad Wolf Girl Studios. And I was wrong. I think I said that this tonal last time from a Homespun House was spruce. It's not. I'm pretty sure it's called juniper. And the only reason I know that is because I've been rewatching Vlogmases, and I am pretty sure I was watching the Vlogmas season that this Advent was from, and she called it juniper, and it looks just like it, so I'm pretty sure it's juniper. And then the other pair of socks that I finished were also shown last episode, and I don't have them with me because Rory is with her grandma today. Will and Rory both are. They're getting some school supplies, and she wanted to wear them. So I will insert some footage here of those socks. They are going to be just as well loved as the other ones, I think. I used my mystery self-striping yarn that was gifted to me a long time ago, along with Material Girl by Ruby and Roses, and I think that's it. I think those are the only 2 colors. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll put it on the screen. And then the other finished object is not made by me. It was made by my best friend Allie. She lives in Colorado. I talked about her last time. Rory has been asking me for a scarf. I did not want to knit her a scarf at all. I don't enjoy knitting scarves. I have not knit scarves since I first started knitting. I would have maybe knit her a shawl, but that was such a long project, and she just wanted a classic scarf. She like drew what she wanted it to look like, and she wanted tassels. She picked out the color. And so I was telling Allie one night when we were playing Overwatch or something about it, and she was like, "Can I knit her the scarf?" I was like, "You want to knit her a scarf?" She was like, "Yes." And so in a week, I'm pretty sure it was only a week, I sent Allie yarn. I sent her some mohair from Ruby and Roses that I don't remember the name of, but it's hard to see, but it was like this lavender and hot pink. And then this color is a Wool of the Andes bulky, but it's not available anymore. And I think it was called fuchsia. Actually, I have some right here. I could tell you. Oh, it's called Crush. So this is the yarn. I have a few skeins of it left because I bought enough to make a sweater for Rory years ago and never made her the sweater. I honestly don't know if she would have wore it bare against the skin because it's Wool of the Andes is a little bit of a crunchy yarn for children. It doesn't really bother me, but with the mohair, so she did the tassels just like Rory asked. Rory sent her a note asking for tassels and like what she wanted it to look like. She did an all over seed stitch and it is so wonderful. She did such a good job, and thank you, Allie, again. Rory was so excited. She has a special place in her room for all of her knits, and yeah, Allie, you did such a good job. Rory's going to treasure this forever, and it is so soft, so squishy. Look how squishy it is. So beautiful, and she did it so fast. So fast. So that is all of my finished things. There's not as many this time. We can move into the next chapter. Okay, for acquisitions, I have just a few things that I wanted to show you guys. We haven't been purchasing a lot of things because we're on summer budget right now, but I did have a gift sent to me and got some new stitch markers and a book. So I'm so excited about this book. But I have started carrying in my shop heart stitch markers, and I've just really enjoyed how simple they are. But a type of stitch marker I've always loved when I see other shops carrying it they're just cat heads. I don't know. Like I've looked for them to see if I can carry them in my shop, if I can buy them in bulk somewhere, and I haven't been able to find them. So I just went ahead and bought some for myself. They are just these little cat head rings. And I bought this container of them. Please don't spill. And they have all different sizes. I got them off Amazon for like $10. I'll link it below because they had a few different styles. And it came in this really cute wood burned like tub. So it's super cute. I think it was like $10 and you got this whole thing filled with multiple sizes. So that was nice. The other acquisition I have was a gift from Allie. When she sent Rory her scarf, she also sent me a project bag that she had bought me. So my username, how I've met all these beautiful friends that I keep talking about, is Devil Snare on Twitch and Discord and everything. So if you are one of the knitters that has a Discord that I've joined recently and you see that Devil Snare has slid into the server, it's me. And that's just because I was simply serving on Twitch, but I don't know, I wanted to have something that was me, that wasn't like my business. Like my business feels separate from me. It's hard to describe, but my business feels like a very filtered version of me. So I wanted a different, anyway, all that to say, devil has become kind of my thing. I've got devil horns on my headset that I wear when I talk to everybody. And I saw this project bag from a maker in Canada called Delphina. And I sent Allie some pictures of her bags because she had this fabric that was like the old classic Americana tattoos, and I'd never seen the fabric before. I don't know if she makes her own fabric. I kind of think she does because I've not seen this fabric she uses anywhere else. I could be wrong, but I showed her this one and I was like, oh my god, I love it so much. We need this bag, or I need this bag. And then Allie bought it for me and surprised me with it. And this bag is fantastic. Like, look at the little lips. that are embroidered around the top. It is huge, like, oops, like it has a huge bottom and wedge bag. It holds so much. I had both of the kids' socks in this bag for a few days, but the yarn kept getting tangled around each other, around itself, because I guess I was throwing the bag around too much. But oh, this bag will always be used. I love it so much. I am obsessed with the Pinup Girl Devil fabric. Obsessed. Thank you so much, Allie. The last acquisition that I have is a book. So I mentioned that I'm going to be doing some color work socks, and I'm sure all of you know Stone Knits. I live under a rock and don't ever know whenever Tolsta tees are released and popular, or whenever Stone Knits is a well-known name. But I saw her baddie socks being circulated as people are getting into like the spooky spirit lately, and I was like, I need to knit those. And then when I went to her Ravelry store, it was just nothing but incredible socks. So I will show you the baddie socks that I'm sure you already know about them. I didn't. But here's the baddie socks. And this book is just full of the cutest socks. And I have knit one Fair Isle, well, that's not true. I've knit an all over Fair Isle sock before. It's actually behind me. I am not knitting the second one. That is why it's on display. But this was an Advent sock from years ago, years and years ago. And the sock fit, so I'm confident that I can do this and the socks fit as color work. I just was not interested in doing something with that many ends and that many colors again. So it's just a really beautiful like decoration now for my background back here. But with these, I am absolutely going to be making several of them, and there are even more in her Ravelry store. But Rory has asked for the cherry socks, and she's also asked me for strawberry socks, inspired by Charlotte Stone's strawberry socks, but I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do like a lice pattern strawberry sock, but I'll talk about that when I actually do them. And then she wants the ice cream socks, or gelato, I think is what it was called. But there's just there is no good way to flip through this, is there? There's so many. Oh, that was the other reason. But the reason I bought this, other than the baddie pattern, which is available for individual sale on her Ravelry, was the spicy socks, because my husband and one of our best friends, they are both obsessed with hot sauce. And one of the things that they do is eat wings. If anybody watches Hot Ones on YouTube, they both love that show. They've bought the hot sauces, the Dave's Insanity, the Last Dab, and that's something that they do periodically, is try to destroy their bodies with hot sauce. So I thought it would be a really good, I don't think either of them are going to watch this podcast, so I thought it would be a really good Christmas gift to knit them the spicy socks. And this pattern you could only get in this book. So I literally bought this book for this pattern. And in turn got so many that I'm going to use. I'm so excited to start on these. I have some some tonal shopping that I need to do, because I'm surprisingly low on tonal sock yarn. I have all kinds of self-striping sock yarn, but not tonal. So yeah, I can't wait to get started on those. But that is all of my works in progress. So I guess I will take us to talk about my shop a little bit. Okay, for shop talk, I have started putting Halloween charms in the shop. I released a vintage Halloween charm collection, which has an owl, a cat, a pumpkin, a ghost, one that I'm forgetting, but also like a haunted house, a couple spooky lattes, because it is never too early for Halloween. Also, it seems to me like everyone is ready. I think this last heat wave just really was just the last straw for everyone for this summer. So I personally do not like summer. I have a really hard time during summer. So anytime I think people are ready for me to start releasing like cooler weather designs, I am here for it. I'm ready. So I released some Halloween designs. I did take out the Gilmore Girls pre-orders as well as the Supernatural boxes. Those actually went out today. So next episode, I will show you what those charms looked like. I think they turned out super cute. I think anyone that is a fan of Supernatural and the Winchester Boys will love it. I don't know what I want to do for the next fandom box. If you have any ideas, let me know down below. I thought about like Schitt's Creek and New Girl, but I really don't know what I could do. Like, there are certainly characters I could do, but I don't know if I could do a lot of like some neutral charms. Neutral's not the word I'm looking for. Like the coordinating charms that are just like objects or something like that. I thought about doing Hocus Pocus, but that has 3 characters that you can't get around making 2 of the witches and not 3 of them. So I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know. Sleepy Hollow might be a good idea. Maybe. Like something spooky, something Halloween. Nightmare Before Christmas is always popular this time of year, but I feel like that's going to be something you can find everywhere. I will probably put some Nightmare Before Christmas stuff in my shop at some point. And I kind of want it to be a little bit not as everywhere, maybe. But yeah, so I really don't have a lot of shop stuff to talk about. Oh, I released some new stitch marker sets. You can get hexagon stitch markers or heart stitch markers. And then there was a new resin stitch marker set for junk food. And I also did, oh, and I released the fall animals or the forest friends. I don't remember what I called it exactly, but it has a sunflower and a toadstool, a fox, and a squirrel, and I think those are so cute, and a pumpkin zipper pull. So it was supposed to be a stitch marker set, but when it came, it was like this big. So I realized that I did not read the description, but it still works perfectly as a zipper pull. It's chunky enough that you just grab it and don't have to worry about it breaking, so that's nice. Because I always hesitate to market polymer clay charms as zipper pulls because polymer clay can be fragile. Like it breaks. So I have to replace charms sometimes for customers who get a hold of me and say, hey, an ear broke off or the eye pin came out, and I replace those for them because yeah, it does happen, unfortunately. But for the most part, polymer clay does hold up to use. So that's really all I have for shop talk, and now we will go to what's spinning. For the epilogue, what do I have going on? The kids go back to school in 2 weeks, and they are ready. I wasn't ready. I didn't realize how quickly the summer was over. I'm really excited. I'm excited for them because I know that they're bored, and they do love school. Rory is a little nervous. She's usually a little nervous, and he's not nervous at all. He likes school. He likes learning. He enjoys hanging out with his friends. And not a whole lot bothers him. So, and Rory will be less nervous once it actually starts. So, we got new furniture, like I said. We got the green velvet couch. I also did a couple DIY projects, which I will insert some B-roll here, or maybe at the end. We painted a dresser, this beautiful mustard color, and we put it in the dining room, and I think that it has completely transformed the room. I'm so excited. I think it looks so nice in there. And it's really nice to have a piece that is sort of just for decoration. It is functional, like I put table linens in it, but I had other places to put the table linens. It wasn't necessary to have the, it's a sweater chest is what it is, a sweater chest of drawers. And so I painted that, and it just looks so nice. I have a candle on it that, and then the mirror over the top, and it looks great, and I'm really, really happy with it. I did a little bit of thrifting recently and found 2 shelves that are from the 80s. I don't know if you guys would be familiar with the timber colored heart shelves that were super popular. My parents had them in their kitchen, and honestly are kind of like, I feel like one of the symbols of like the wrinkle your nose at like old people stuff, sort of, maybe. I don't know if that's just a around here thing, but like the heart shelves and the wood heart stuff was so popular in the 80s and 90s, and it's just everywhere in thrift stores. But I really, really wanted a I don't know what to call it, like a caddy shelf, like a trinket shelf to put teacups and stuff on. And so I saw this, I got this one, and the teacup shelf and a longer shelf to go over the door in our kitchen that leads out to the studio. I got both of them for, I think, $10. So it was such a good bargain. And honestly, like, I did feel it a little bit when I got the heart stuff, because I associated it with, like what my parents had, which was like, I really didn't like the 90s mauve and apples and everything everywhere that wasn't the ruffles. Or maybe that was more 80s. Maybe the style of all of my relatives was more 80s than 90s. I don't know. But once I put it up, it just, same thing with the dresser. It just transformed the room. It was everything that I wanted. I have absolutely no shame about getting the heart shelves and having them in my house, and it just feels so cozy. Between that and the new couch and the recliner chairs, it just feels more like, I was telling Adam, everything we do to our house makes it feel more like an adult's home, which is silly because we are adults, but I don't feel like an adult. So I said it feels like an adult's home that we live in and are taken care of in, and it has exactly our tastes, even though we couldn't possibly be responsible enough to own this home. That's pretty much how I feel. Oh, I did not go and get the rest of my tattoo yet because, again, summer budget. We had an issue with my Jeep, and it was just a tie rod and a wheel bearing, but it cost money. So I actually now will go in September to get it done. Kind of was bummed out, kind of weird still having, like, in particular, the birds to me look really unfinished, but I have it under a sleeve most of the time. My t-shirts, I don't typically wear sleeveless shirts very often, more often now than I used to, but Adam has assured me that they don't look too unfinished. So I'm just trying to remember that plenty of people have unfinished tattoos, and I will be getting it finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode. I hope I didn't talk too fast or too much or make too little sense. And and I really, really appreciate you sitting down with me and listening to me. So yeah, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye. And I feel like this is not working. Ooh, I moved my camera. Yikes. Maybe I should move it closer.